Good evening and welcome to the Planning Committee meeting 1st of 2025, Tuesday the 14th of January. Firstly, apologies for absence.
We've got apologies from Councillor Romans for lateness.
Okay. Second, declarations of interest. Councillor Dodds.
I'd like to declare an interest on the Cromwell Road, P24 S3947, who is a friend.
Okay.
We'll also have a declaration of interest from Councillor Romans on the same application.
Okay. There's no, it's not pecuniary, it's just a general
Non-registrable.
non-registrable. Okay. Agenda item number 3. Approve the minutes of the Planning Committee from the 17th of December 2024. Councillor Plant.
Yep.
Councillor Jackson. All in favour? Thanks. And now for public participation. The first thing I will say is that, given there are members of the public here, if the fire alarm goes off, we go out that door, descend down the steps. If there's any issue with the stairs, let me know. We can sort it out. We meet on the marketplace opposite Facey. So that's the fire alarm. Safety, Councillor.
Could I just add that if we do have a fire alarm and you have to go out of that door, be really careful because we've got wires around because we've got no boiler and we're running extra electric heaters at the moment. So just be really careful.
We won't have a fire.
No.
The fact that there's lots and lots of things plugged in does not mean we're going to have a fire. Okay. I see there's a number of people here. I believe there's two there's two applications that I know there's people speaking on. One is Cromwell Road and one is Makins. Can I just take, is there anyone here who is speaking on behalf of any other application? Highlands? Fantastic. Okay, we've got one for Highlands. How many for Makins? 2 for Makins and for Cromwell. Fantastic. Thank you. If I can start then with the lady for Highlands, please. Would you like to stand up, state your name and yeah.
Okay. I'm Julie Lee and I'm representing AFC Henley, the community grassroots football club tonight. I want to speak in support, but with some slight education, of the Highlands pitch and playground area. Some of you may remember I came to the last meeting and had a quite discussion about parking and what have you.
Yep.
We have been in liaison with Crest. There have been additional parking spaces put in. It's still going to be a bit of a challenge on the parking, but we feel we can support it as it is. What we would like to see, if possible, is a pedestrian link that goes through perhaps the existing route, going up to where the new car parking will be for the offices and what have you, because we feel that if that is used, then it will in future create less difficulties for the residents there as well.
Okay.
Other than that, I know there's been some talk about the toilets and the facilities. We feel they are adequate for what's needed. The children who will be using this will be aged 10 to 12. In our experience, they do not use changing facilities at all. There are 2 of each sex toilets and disabled toilets, and for us, we think that is adequate, more than adequate for purposes of football pitch there. So we'd just like to be supportive of that. I think the thing that we would like to raise and we would like to see some sort of additional really is, if you're familiar with the area, you have the big swales that go all the way around it and the pitches. Now, they start only a few metres from the edge of the football pitches. So if you can imagine, there's 10 11-year-olds playing there, the footballs will be going down there all the time. I'm not just highlighting this because it's going to be a pain in the bum for us,
Yeah.
but it really is quite dangerous for children if they're dashing down there all the time. So we would like to see the inclusion of some sort of fencing around the edge, both for the danger in swales, also to help protect residents and their cars, with some sort of netting or something so they're not constantly being bombarded by things as well. Also on the sort of fencing front, we're conscious of what can get into that site. Our maintenance people need to get in there if we're taking use of these. And So there's fairly significantly large things that we need to get in there. What we don't want to do is have members of, for example, the travelling community getting in there, because it will be, it would be heaven
Yeah.
for them there, quite frankly, especially with the WC facilities and what have you. So we would really like to see some sort of reinstatement of some sort of barrier or something that will also prevent, folks from going on there and using it
Thanks.
illicitly.
Great.
And I think, the only thing which I presume will be there with the toilets, we would like to see the provision of defibrillator next to, somewhere close to the pitches,
Okay.
and also doctor bins.
Yeah.
Both of those could be a nightmare for any of the youngsters using it.
Okay.
And that's it. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for the opportunity.
Any questions from councillors? Okay, thank you. If we take the Cromwell Road one next, because I'm conscious that we have a meeting following this, so I want to try and make sure that public participation covers everybody. So if we could take the Cromwell Road, please.
Do you want the objection or the support?
I would probably put the objection first, please.
Okay, so I'm Andrew Gatsby. I'm one of the residents on Western Road overlooked by the development. A little bit more paper, I do apologise for circulating paper, but hopefully it does help.
Yep.
I'm here actually representing 4 neighbours, so myself on Western Road, Steph Wheeler, who can't be here on Western Road, and Nick and Alan, who live at 7 and 9 Cromwell next to it.
Yep.
We'd like the committee to object to the proposal on the basis that there are a number of significant issues with it. For example, the plot dimensions actually listed in the application are different to those approved in the pre-planning advice by 50%. It's significantly smaller. There is some history on that which I won't go into, we don't have the time. And we feel also that the design statement trivialises the impact that it does have on all 4 neighbouring properties. And so I want to sort of discuss some of those. There's a lot made in the application about 18A Cromwell Road and the similarity of the plot, and it really isn't similar. The plot is significantly narrower than 18A, and there's a picture about it. You can see 2 cars are quite comfortably parked, whereas the planning advice and the plans I've submitted only have 1 car. 18A is also built sort of into the slope, if you will. The development that's proposed is built out of the hillside, and will severely dominate both 22 and 24. And because it's also 4 metres longer than the rear of 7 and 9, it's going to also have a huge impact on there. The actual narrowness of the plot makes the build extremely difficult, and the design statement actually trivialises the impact it will have. The foundations needed to support the house are going to be significant because it slopes downwards and sideways. So you have to dig very deep foundations, which will have a huge impact on number 7. And you also have to stop the house as built sliding into number 9. So you've got to go very, very deep to deal with it. And because of the narrowness of the plot, you can't get away from them. So number 9, it's actually the 3-storey wall is on the boundary, and number 7, it's less than a metre away from the retaining wall, which is actually holding up number 7. So severe impact on that. Also, the ground floor windows will look directly into 5 bedrooms at 22 and 24 at the same level at about an 80-metre distance. So the degree of overlooking and overshadowing is going to be immense, especially when you consider it's a 3-storey dwelling as well. 22 and 24 also have significant problems with rainwater runoff. At the moment, it's a green plot. We do get quite a lot of rainwater runoff. That increased significantly after the plot was cleared in spring last year. And the problem that we will run into is because about 130 square metres of the plot will effectively become impervious, and it will drain into a soakaway, which is located 2 metres from our boundary at a higher level than the garden and rear of the houses. I think also the there's a planning application made in 1973, and I do include the planning officer's comments there. It just talked about the total suitability for a plot. I feel that those issues raised by the planning officer are still equally valid today. It's still a very difficult plot. Thank you very much for the time, and I really look forward to you supporting our section.
Any questions from councillors? Councillor Thomas?
Sorry, would you mind just repeating that last statement about it being refused previously?
So 1973, if you look at the back page,
Okay.
you've got the actual application, which is actually on the SODC site. And I've actually included the planning officer's comments, and I've actually translated it from handwriting into written text to make it easier, because it's a bit of a head scratcher. Just old-fashioned writing thing.
When I was looking at the SODC planning application online, I noticed not all of those residents, the neighbouring properties, had actually responded directly to the application. So I would recommend that you put your comments directly to SODC as well.
In fact, I think we all submitted
We've done that already.
before this meeting, so
Okay.
we did hers yesterday
Thank you.
as well. So yes, we will definitely be making the representation.
Great.
Thank you.
And on confirmation.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the time to speak. Colin Brathwaite, I'm obviously speaking in favour of the planning application, which myself and my architect have put in for land that I own between my future neighbours' houses, hopefully future neighbours. I moved to Henley with my parents in 1973. We moved to number 20 Cromwell Road, just across the road. In 82, we moved to Denwood Gardens, and then to 20 Western Road, so just behind the plot. So this immediate area is my home, and it has been for a long time. In my opinion, this is exactly the type of property that Henley needs. 2-bedroom, affordable, which will allow young people, such as myself, to live and work in Henley. I've taken pre-planning advice, as you've heard, from SODC, and I've listened to and acted upon the advice of Simon Kitson, the SODC planning officer. He requested that the roof and eaves heights be reduced, and we complied, and reducing it by almost a metre. In short, the planning officer assigned to this already approves the design in principle. It sits comfortably within the continuous line of existing houses. The highest point of this self-build will sit considerably lower than number 5 Cromwell Road, my future neighbour's house, which already overlooks the properties behind it on Western Road significantly, one of which being my mum's house where I'm currently living. We've never had a problem with it. The proposal, when viewed from Cromwell Road, it's a 2-storey house, and the 2nd-storey house is in the loft space. So the visual mass of the proposal is modest and would have adequate amenity space, in which I plan to plant small native trees that promote biodiversity. If the proposed plans were deemed acceptable, due to the sloping nature of the site, there'd be some steps down to the kitchen would open onto the garden. I'm caring for my 8-year-old mother. This proposal would allow me to be very nearby and retain my independence whilst caring for her. I'm a contributing member of the community as a result of my volunteer community work, some of which you'll be aware of. This modest self-build, on which I plan to do as much of the work as I can myself, will enable me to continue to live and work in Henley, hopefully well into my 7th decade in this town. Thank you.
Go to Macon. Sorry, any questions from councillors? Okay. I'm going to Macon's Road, please. Macon's Rag, please.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Wolf. Thanks for listening to me last week. I came to speak to you at the full town council meeting. I wanted to come back today because I asked last week if I could have your support in objecting to this planning application to SODC. And Sheridan said that would be up to you tonight. So I would come to find out. In the meantime, we started a petition. Over 200 people have signed it since I last spoke to you, and there are almost 30 objections on the SODC website now. I know that you have to let them do it, as from a landowner perspective, I understand that from what Sheridan said last week, but I really would ask you to do that grudgingly.
Okay.
Please don't just let them do this to the recreation ground. It's not fair.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So the only thing I will say is that in comparison, so last week was full council. This is the planning committee. We have to look at it from a planning policy perspective.
Yeah.
And input from residents and residents' wishes obviously form a big part of what we have to consider.
Yeah.
We're also sort of bound by policy and by guidelines.
Yeah.
As you also said, it's down to South Oxfordshire. So when we come to the debate, more than welcome to sit around and you'll hear the debate. Thanks. Yes.
Thanks. Louise Dodd from Harcourt Close. I'd like to object to the planning application for a 20-metre high telecoms installation on Lakins on the grounds of inappropriate siting and appearance. The site is designated as local green space in the neighbourhood plan and therefore has similar protection as Greenbelt. Any such development should therefore not impact on the openness of the area. Being located on the highest part of the Makins, the mast will be visually intrusive from the whole of the recreation ground. Its appearance will be at odds with the character of the area. There are other, less sensitive locations which are more appropriate, specifically Dewson's car park, which EE referred to as site D18, is an existing mast operated by Vodafone. Secondly, site D19 is within the station car park, again operated by Vodafone. Thirdly, site D20, which is around the back of the post office, which is operated by EE. And fourthly, the fire station, which already contains a number of telecoms operators. All these sites are far less sensitive than the Makins and should be given priority. EE has not demonstrated that these sites will not work. In some instances, it's clear they've not even visited the sites, stating things like the existing mast is believed to be in a building at this location. Government guidance states that telecoms operators should share masts and sites in order to reduce proliferation of masts and equipment. EE has ignored this advice. 20-metre mast will clearly impact on the openness of the local green space, and once established, if the government's site sharing principles are adhered to in this instance, the mast will become a magnet for additional telecoms equipment. The siting is wholly inappropriate as less sensitive sites are available which offer site sharing opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you all for your contribution. It's really good to see people coming in and actually speaking about planning applications that they want to support or want to reject. We'll move on to agenda item number 5, plans amended. We have plans amended P24 S3346 household application for Woodside 18 Waterford.
I don't have any comments. I recommended approval last time.
Same again. Seconded. Anybody else care to speak? All in favour? Oh, sorry, Councillor Thomas, apologies.
Well, the tree officer has pointed out, that he'd like to be satisfied by a tree protection plan, which I support.
So you want to add that onto the comment?
Yeah, I don't know if the proposer wants to.
Councillor Plant?
I'll second it with that amendment, yeah.
Okay, so we have a proposal for acceptance on the condition that tree protection officer has a plan. All in favour? Thanks. We move to plans new. If I can suggest that perhaps we do the 3 that we're looking at here, so Highlands Farm, Cromwell and Megan's first. Any objections to that? Okay, we'll start with Highlands Farm, please. Sorry, Julie, I know you. So this is P24 S3952 full Highlands Park.
So yeah, this is the first of 2 planning applications. So this is for the play area, which is relocated from the existing South Field development, and an additional toilet and storage building to support the operation of the sports pitches. Also the parking provision for that, landscaping and supporting infrastructure. And the main thing to note is that the parking's been increased from 14 to 22, and that was one of the main concerns when we looked at that last time.
Thanks. Anybody care to, Councillor Plant?
Yeah, thank you very much from the representatives from the Football Club coming along. 2 minds. I fully support the amendments they've made so far. I just feel that if we wanted to make some adjustments about the protection of the swales and the areas around it, do we just rely on the fact that we have a good ongoing communication with them? Or do we actually reject this one, stating that that's what we'd like to see in an amended one, or do we support this one and just use our ongoing communications with them to discuss that? Because we're going to have so many ongoing discussions with them that I'm minded just to approve this one and know that it will be part of an ongoing discussion.
Okay.
So
What's your proposal?
approve on that basis if everyone else is happy on that working premise.
I'm just wondering whether it is worth SODC being aware that that's something we're looking at and we're in favour of, like fencing.
Yeah,
If we
so
are.
approval subject to looking at fencing
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, or
Pictures.
some form of hedge fencing.
Second, second on that basis.
They would have to modify the planning application to have
Fence.
consent for the fencing.
Yeah, but
So,
that's the dilemma, and
yeah,
so either come
So
back with an amended one.
might be better off refusing it until such time that that's included within the planning application.
Then happy to, that was the dichotomy with it.
Could they grant approval subject to the fencing being a pre-commencement condition? Because there's,
I think it's
Can we
changing
capture
the
it?
description, isn't it? It's changing what actually needs permission
So
rather
there's-
than as part.
yeah,
It's a kind of separate thing to this. It's not needed for this particularly, it's for the sports pitches. So I don't think it could do that, but it's
The
up
other-
to you. We can recommend.
The other point,
approval, it's
the other
just
point is
nothing
the
else.
pedestrian link, which will need planning permission.
Yeah, and that could
that
come
will come
through in
forward in
phase
future
2.
discussion.
Yeah.
That's fine. So that's part of the phase 2. We're
Well, we
mainly
need to
concerned,
note it,
yeah.
but yeah.
I'm happy to leave this bit to phase 2 as part of the next stage anyway, because I think they will be amenable to doing so. But
Is the sports pitch already there in place?
well, in essence,
It's-
it's
In
Yeah.
essence, it is, yes. So the space is there. So again, they've got the storage, toilets, car parking provision for the use of the sport pitches, but they haven't got the fencing in there.
No.
so we can leave it for
couldn't-
future. I'm happy to leave it for future discussion.
So,
Stick with recommended approval.
so we have a
subject to-
proposal for recommendation, subject to the condition.
Yeah,
Ongoing
we'll
discussion.
try that.
Okay. Proposed,
Yeah.
seconded. All in favour? Fantastic. Are you happy with that? And if you would like to stick around for the next 2, feel free. So if we go to 7 to 9 Cromwell Road, P24, S3947, full.
So yeah, as we've heard, they've received pre-application advice. The planning officer said that the principle of this is acceptable. It supports housing and infill development within the town of Henley. It needs to be of high quality design. The officer does state that they have no issue with the proposed dwelling being more than 1 story in height at the front elevation, but it should respond appropriately to the scale, form and height of the other dwellings, and there should be clear separation to the surrounding dwellings. As we've heard, the ridge height has been reduced, but it will still extend higher than number 9 Cromwell Road, and it's on an elevated position, so it could have impact on those properties on Western Road. a windows proposed on the first floor elevation towards number 7, Cromwell Road, and windows projecting towards the rear, towards Western Road. A report's been provided on daylight and sunlight, but doesn't demonstrate the impact on those on Western Road. And it looks like the distance between those could be non-compliant with that, but you'd need to have it shown on plans to demonstrate that. The case officers said that it might be worth undertaking a site visit with the neighbours, which is probably recommended.
Councillor Plant?
I think that the applicant's done a great job to seek pre-application advice and listen to it. It's always nice to see that. I do feel this is just an overly sensitive plot to the neighbours, and I think until those studies with the appropriate angles come back, we always seek to see them on plans to see the impact on neighbours. Councillor Jackson's always very hot on this. I think until we have those and some further bits of information on that, and we can't proceed with it in the current state. And as Jodie says, Jodie says it's pretty well worth a site visit to see. So I think at this stage, for me, it would be a rejection.
That's a proposal. Reproval. Okay, so that's a proposal for rejection. Anybody else care to second that? Anybody else care to speak on it? Councillor Jackson, second it. Would you care to add anything to that?
Few concerns. Because of the way the land slopes left to right and back to front, this can't sit on normal foundations. It almost certainly has to be piled to protect the adjacent building. So, but all this has been factored in, but certainly planning should be looking at how this is supported with foundation design. The runoff, I think there is some guidance as to the surface water drainage containers need to be more than 5 metres away from the house. So while it's separated from the back of the proposal, it's now very close to Western Road. So it's at a high level and closer to the other property. So I'm concerned about the water runoff and the solution to that. I don't think it does actually work.
Okay.
And again, the section through the site has the ground floor windows looking directly at the rear of Western Road. While they are already looked over, we have to consider this site and this application in terms of immunity.
Okay. Councillor Thomas?
Yeah, I'd just like to add this is one of those kind of proposals that really gets to you, because you can really see it from both sides. You can see it from the neighbours and you can see it from the person that wants to build. And since 1973, that all planning authorities have to have a presumption in favour of development, which is why the applicants have got very, very sound advice from the officer at SODC. But there is a lot of information missing here, I feel. The size and type of the plot, as Councillor Jackson says, there will have to be some sort of piling, because I know that for a fact, because there was a house built next to my house, and when my house was built, it's been piled right at the end of my garden because of the slope, and because it's very, very sandy land in this area of Henley, it had to be corkscrewed, not batted down, but corkscrewed in. And I mean, the day that I came around the corner of my road and saw this massive, great big crane, I thought, thank God we signed a party wall agreement, because when you're less than a metre away from something that's being built from you, you need that protection in case your own house is. So there's a lot of information here that I think that is needed. And until I think those reports are in, I don't think that anybody can make a reasonable decision on this.
So we have a proposer for refusal, seconded. Anybody else care to speak? All in favour of the proposal? Thank you. If we move now to Megan's, please. You know that Rob and Jim had.
Yeah.
Colin, if you'd like to stick around, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'll hang around for a
And
little
same
while.
with you
I've got a lot of experience of being in this room, so it's good memories.
Excellent. And with the rest, thank you very much for your appearance.
Thank you
Cheers.
very much.
Okay, Megan's Rec, P24, S4019, T56.
Thank you. Yeah, so paragraph 122 of the MPPF states that applications for electronic communications development should be supported by the necessary evidence to justify the proposed development, and local planning authorities must determine applications on planning grounds only. They've received pre-application advice for this proposal, and the officer has asked for additional information on why sites have been discouraged, including Townsland, the fire station and Cedar House.
Yep.
This information has been provided in the design and access statement, and it will be up to the officer if that is sufficient. The site is designated as local green space, so proposals for development on these spaces will only be permitted in very special circumstances. The siting and appearance of the apparatus should seek to minimise the visual impact, character and appearance of the surrounding area in accordance with design policies and appropriate heritage and ecology policies. An ecological impact assessment's been provided. I do note that the location of the mast has moved from them receiving pre-app, which is unfortunate, so we haven't got a direct comparison to that, and it will be located closer to residential properties, so the amenity on them should be considered. I've got just a couple more points. The pre-app asks for evidence that the apparatus meets the International Commission on Non-Ionising Radiation Protection guidelines for public exposure, and the applicant has provided a declaration that this is in full compliance.
Okay. Councillor Hunt.
I'd like to propose that we reject this application, primarily on the grounds that they're not to have considered all the other suitable sites. For instance, I know when they spoke to us about the fire station, they said the tower was in a state of disrepair. There's no reason they couldn't repair the tower and have it there rather than taking away public green space that's very close to residents and would have a significant visual impact.
Okay. Councillor Plant.
I think until they've exhausted all other possible options, and don't get me wrong, I'd be begrudging to even then, but I think until they've exhausted all the other, less pretty, more desirable sites for this mast, I think that's how we should take our stance.
Okay. There's got a comment, Councillor Dodds.
I agree. I always thought the fire station was a better location, and they came up with a couple of others. I didn't think Townlands was a particularly good one, or Cedar Court. But mentioning, the lady mentioned Dewsons and other sites that haven't really been considered. So there are other sites out there, and I think we need to voice what our thoughts on this, really. Yeah.
I would agree with pretty much everything that's been said. Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said as well, and really they do need to follow the pre-application advice that they've received very clearly from the planning authority. They need to explain why they have discounted these sites, and they should just basically turn around to us like they did before and say, it's basically take it or leave it. We have certain powers here, and therefore you should just comply. But I mean, it is needed in this town. I mean, the reason it's come about is because they received so many customer complaints. Let's be absolutely clear about this. But we're not objecting to a 5G mast. It's just that we think, please just don't put it in a huge open green space. So yeah, I support all of the comments so far, and thank you for making a good representation. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to clarify that. So you want to refuse that because the other sites haven't been fully considered. Do you want to mention specific sites?
Specifically, the fire station.
Yeah.
The fire station is claimed to be not suitable, but there's no reason why that mast couldn't be repaired and made suitable.
Okay.
There are other masts Now, the other question I've got is really, there may be other masts around the town, but are there other 5G masts around the town? Because we've got to be clear that 3G is being phased out. 4G is there. There's a 4G mast on top of the church that is broken. And we need to understand how they go about working with the other networks to ensure we don't get proliferation. And specifically the fire station as being the key one. However, we also have to take into consideration the topography of Henley, being in a valley with a river. They do need to have somewhere high. They can't put it higher than 20 metres. Therefore, it may well be that the fire station still isn't suitable, but we don't know yet. Okay. On that basis, we have a proposal.
They need to share it as well. They need to share in the last.
Yeah. That's not down to Henley Town Council. That's got to be down to.
No, but we should put it down as one of the prerequisites.
Yeah, we need to be in a position that we're making our position, that the town council position clear, that we will not accept multiple masts. We need to be looking at a single or two sites to support the town.
Can we also object on the grounds it's a loss of green space and recreational space? Is that feasible, Gary?
You can say that it's a local green space.
We always say that, yeah, it is local green space, because they are
That's an
putting it.
important element as well. If that gets lost, we'll never get it back.
Okay. So we have proposal conditions.
Yeah.
For rejection. All in favour? There you go.
Thank you so much. I'm so relieved.
It will go to South Oxford District
Yeah.
Council and they'll work through that as well.
Yeah.
Can I propose that we call this one in as well?
We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah.
Thank you for all your input. I know how hard and what an effort it is to object. So, congratulations.
I've done nothing else in 2 weeks.
It takes a lot of time and energy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, P24 S3759 householder, Kings Road.
So this is the end of the row of terrace houses on Kings Road that match the neighbouring properties for the window. I've got no other comment.
Proposer, council plans.
Approval.
Second. Have we got to speak? All in favour?
Just another door on King's
Yes.
Road.
Yes. So is the one next door.
It's rear facing. P24 S3907 householder, 61 Blandy Road.
Quite a large increase in size. Changed the appearance of the property, but it's not in the conservation area. Number 63 has asked for the window for the new bathroom to be obscure glazed to protect their privacy.
Council plants.
Fully support the neighbour, obscure glaze the bathroom window, but otherwise it seems fine.
Councillor Dodds.
As long as they do them.
Everybody else care to comment? All in favour of the proposal, approval with the obscure window?
Not sure they want to see through it anyway.
P24 S3908, listed building for 15 Hop Gardens.
The Heritage Officer has no objection in principle. They've just asked for samples of the time.
Shall I just propose from the chair to say accept it,
Subject to,
subject to the heritage?
yeah.
Okay, all in favour? Was it seconded?
Yeah.
Yes, brilliant. P24 S3909, full. Jane, the list of buildings.
Can't
We
speak to
can't
this, can
speak to the next
We
three.
can't speak to the next
Please
one.
transform.
Okay, so we can't speak to those. That's to do with us.
Good to see them though.
Yep.
Good to see them there.
Okay, no comment to all of those?
Not talk about bats, no?
Well, it's our planning application.
Exactly.
Okay, P24
There are ours as well.
S3931, householder, St.
Yeah, so this is within St Mark's Road, the conservation area. It's single story and rear extension to the property. It should have limited impact on the neighbouring properties, and there's limited visibility of it in the conservation area.
Recur to council plants.
Approval.
Councillor Thomas, seconded, and recur to speak to it. All in favour? 29, P24 S3957, householder, 29 Milton Close.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't have a comment on this one. Thank you.
Pretty straightforward,
Proposed by
Yeah,
councillor
pretty
Thomas,
much.
councillor
Yeah,
Plant.
it's very simple.
Seconded. Councillor Hunt, and we got to speak. All in favour? And P24 S4056, section 73, Newtown Road.
Yes, so we've seen this application come up quite a lot. They're still awaiting decision on the appeal for the variation of condition to change the roof. So yeah, this is an amendment to the roof design, omitting the dormer windows and simplifying the design. Looks better than the last one.
Yeah,
Okay. Any comments?
let's just reject it to make their lives happy.
It will be approved.
I'm in approval of this one.
Yeah, okay. So proposal for approval. All, any seconder? What about Councillor Dodds? All in favour? Sorry, anybody care to speak to it? Just in case. All in favour? And thanks for them for changing it. Okay, agenda item number 7, objection, Colin. Councillor Hunt.
I'd propose we call in the Makins Road antenna.
Okay, fantastic. All in favour? Yep, all right, that's great. Agenda item 8, decision notices. Plenty of them approved. We haven't really got the time to go through all of them. Albert Road was refused, the Mount was refused, the Hub was refused, and 7 St Mark's Road was refused as well.
Chair, they've actually supported Henley Town Council.
On 2.
They actually agree
They did.
with our conclusions.
They did. However, they didn't agree on another one that we rejected, but Walton Avenue. Joe got some concerns around it. Pardon? The 4-storey tower block, yeah. Yeah. They were in favour of that one. However,
Did they say why? Did they?
the plans that were presented didn't quite seem to match what we had based our refusal on, but they seem to have scaled it down a little bit. They said it fitted with the environment. It was actually a good building. It is a good plan. It's just the impact on the neighbours. It seemed that the lighting and everything else had been resolved. Whether or not the neighbours are fully happy, not sure. Okay, agenda item number 9, local plan consultation.
Yeah, so this is just to note the consultation. It's an addendum to the sustainability appraisal scoping report, and this just provides some supplementary detail on the future baseline of the 2 districts if the local plan wasn't going to be implemented. So what the risks are of not implementing the local plan, looking at the main topics in that: air quality, biodiversity, climate, heritage and landscape. So it's just a formality, really.
Anybody got a comment on it?
Well, yeah, I love commenting on this. I just love them. So, I mean, I did skim read it because it's all a lot of, unnecessary speaking as far as I'm concerned. But Henley's not mentioned once, so, it. And when they talk about something like, we've got a special air quality monitor here in Henley, which has been in place since what? Is it 2004 or something like that?
15, 20 years.
And what's been done about it?
Keep on monitoring.
Absolutely, they just monitor it and do nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just hot air.
So on the basis of that, we'll note it.
Well, it's not really, we're obviously not going to say that to them, are we?
I don't think we're not being asked for any input, are we?
We can input, but as Michelle says, it's very high level.
Yeah. I also think that given what's going to be happening with Oxfordshire and the potential devolution, we don't know where we're going to be yet.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much unknown.
Yeah.
Especially since that December white paper.
Okay. Agenda item 10, Children's National Landscape Statutory Management Plan.
Yeah, so this is just to consider whether you want to put a response forward to the consultation on the management plan for the Chilterns National Landscape. The document needs to be reviewed every 5 years. This is normally done by local authority, but Chilterns have their own conservation board that produce this. It looks at the key issues that's facing the national landscape. It's been updated mainly to provide for the changes in legislation and the new MPPF. And AONBs are now referred to as national landscape, so that's been changed throughout the document. It includes some targets in terms of wildlife and the condition of priority habitats and forces for change, and lots of policies at the end of the document. So again, if you want to provide any response to that, you're welcome to email me directly or let me know.
I'm just wondering if this has actually gone to the advisory group on the climate emergency.
I don't think it has, but I can point it out.
The reason I say that is, I mean, it's a 49-page document, and it's got a couple of important points in there because they're actually asking, like, as far as I read it, they're actually asking for feedback on whether, number one, the AONB should be extended, and number two, whether we should actually apply to be redesignated as a national park, because it's such an important habitat. You know, the Chilterns AONB is such an important landscape for so many different reasons.
Yeah, those are 2 points they're looking at in terms of targets in the future. So they're still working on the detail of those. But so
I
that
think
would come
Henley needs to be really involved in this. So I do think we need to make a response for sure, and perhaps we need to consult with Henley residents on it. And definitely our advisory group needs to get involved. I did actually print out one page which was all of the unfortunate trends that have gone on in the AONB. For instance, chalk grassland, 54% lost. Commons, greens and heaths, 43% lost. Ancient woodland, 9% lost. So you kind of get a gist of what's been going on here. And there's all of the recent trends for the reason for these losses, and yet we're still trying to build, you know. So yeah, I mean, there's fors and against for actually, you know, redesignation for a national park. I know it can be unpopular because it can push land values up, house prices up, but on the plus side, you get increased resources for protecting the area of outstanding national beauty. So there's pluses and negatives right with all of these things. But I really do think we need to take it seriously. And if anybody at home wants to respond to it as well, it's open to everybody.
When's the final date?
3rd of February.
Ideally, we want to get this in front of the climate emergency. Before then.
Yeah. I mean, if they could if they're not due to meet, perhaps they could have a special meeting on it.
We've asked them, because we now have the biodiversity officers starting. I think there was an ask last night to try and get a meeting of them sort of quite soon.
Yeah, and perhaps, you know, the Henley Standard, Henley Herald can publicise it as well. It's one of those really important documents that needs to be out there.
Okay. Final one, progress report for applications called in. The Mount refused, we've mentioned that already. The Hub refused, Anderson House was withdrawn, and Thames Farm is under consideration.
Yep.
We know the Environment Agency's asked them to provide an impact assessment now. Okay. Thank you very much. Hold on.